Hello Slicey Dicers, this is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have this handsome little fella right here. He's so hot right now, everybody's raving about these, and spoiler, I'm going to rave about it too. This is the Kizer Vanguard Mini Sheepdog. It is a very cool little cleaver knife, and by little, I mean little. It's a tiny little thing. But man, this is really cool. It is another collaboration with Chris Conway of Sheepdog Knives. Kaiser previously made the full-size Sheepdog in their Bladesmith series. The Bladesmith series has fancy steel and titanium frame lock. This is in the Vanguard series. They decided to do a smaller one, and this is the first one that is out. There's also going to be a Vanguard series of the larger one, and there's going to be a Bladesmith series of this smaller one, but those are going to come for quite some time. I think I saw like end of the year, beginning of next year. I don't remember which one is which, but they're going to be out for a while. But right now, as of June 2018, you can get these. They come in 3 different colors: this blue, a black, or an OD green. I thought I was going to get the black until like the last second. I decided, nah, I'm going to get the blue. This is kind of a I don't even describe it. It's not silly. This is just a really fun knife, and I thought I might as well get it in a bright color. Why not? I don't usually get stuff in bright colors, but this seemed like it deserved it. And it's right. It does fit the personality of this knife. I'm not going to say this is the best knife I've reviewed this year, but it very likely is the most fun knife I've reviewed this year. It's just really cool. Action is amazing. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's only $69. Nice. VG10 with a liner lock and G10 handles. Great little flipper. Great knife. Before I start just raving about this thing for a while, let's do some stats and get into the actual review so I can explain in gory detail exactly why I like it so much. These are all 1/2-inch squares. You're looking at an overall length of about 5 3/4, 5.8 inches. Well, you know what? That's what they claim, but I think it's a little bit longer than that. Let me check this out. Yeah, no, I measured it more about dead on 6 inches. You have a blade length of just 2.65 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.11 inches, so not that thick. This looks like a big, beefy, heavy blade, and for its size, it kind of is, but it's not thick blade stock at all, and very thin behind the edge. It is only 16 thousandths of an inch thick behind the edge, the best way I can measure. It's a really hard measurement to take, but that's the best measurement I could get. That's a pretty slicey little blade with this high flat grind and everything. Handle thickness, also not terribly thick, 0.45 inches. For a knife this size, it's 3.2 ounces, which isn't heavy by any means, but you know, for a knife this size, it's pretty heavy, but there is still a whole lot of blade on there, so that explains why that would be. It does have skeletonized liners and everything, but you know, you can't fight physics with that heavy amount of blade. And I think it's also a little heavier because they want to make sure it was balanced well, which it is. For a tiny little knife like this, looking at it, you'd think this thing was just ridiculously blade heavy, and it absolutely is not. They did a great job with it, I do have to say, with the balance on this thing. So I wouldn't want it to be any lighter. I think it's a perfect way. I think a whole lot of things about this are perfect. Let's do some size comparisons before I start gushing again. First, we'll compare it against some knives that... No, first let's compare it against some standards first, so you guys get an idea how small this is. Then I will compare it against a couple that are kind of more in its size category. This is your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. It is obviously tiny compared to that. You have even the Delica. We'll do the Spyderco Delica. It's even much smaller than that. And... oh, we'll do one more, just so they're not all Spydercos for the standards. We will do the Benchmade 940. Obviously much shorter than that. Now, let's get into some knives that kind of compares with... this is kind of in that little big knife category that's really popular right now. A lot of people are making really beefy but small knives. This one isn't terribly beefy, but still, it's definitely in that category. And here, we'll put some other ones up that are kind of also in that same sort of category. This is against your CRKT Pilar. It's just a smidge bigger than the Pilar. The aspect ratio makes it look a lot bigger, but it's only just a little bit bigger. And, lastly, we will do the Spyderco Lil Native. Also, just a little bit bigger than a little native. A little bigger than a little native. Let's talk more about this knife, about this specific model. I like the looks of it. I do think it looks cool. I also think the big one looks cool. It's just once I handled it, the big cleaver, I didn't think it was something that I really wanted. After handling this, I'm going to get the Vanguard version of the big cleaver when that comes out. But the cleaver blade, the cleaver blades look cool. I don't care who you are. I think they look cool. The blade to handle ratio is a bit ridiculous looking, but it works. And I don't know, visually I think it works too. Like I said, it's available in multiple colors. I like this really bright blue. The camera is not doing justice. This is a very bright blue. Quality-wise, it's a Kizer Vanguard, which means it's good. I've never had any of theirs I've really been disappointed with quality-wise. Lockup's great. Centering is perfect. All the hardware is pretty good. They don't, you know, knock your socks off with the hardware. It's not like titanium hardware or something, but it works well. T6, T8 on the pivot, T6 everywhere else. The finish on the blade is really attractive. I think it looks really good. Yeah, the pocket clip looks good. It's a bit unique looking. It's not just your standard pocket clip they use and everything else. I like that. It's got some nice machine standoffs and stuff for 69 bucks. That's not bad. I have no problems with the looks or quality of this. I think it looks really cool, and I think the quality is right about right for 69 bucks. Yes, I do have fits about the Spyderco Delica. Before anybody corrects me, this is $75. It's got VG10, and I have fits about the VG10 in it. To qualify, Kaiser does a much better job with their VG10. Their VG10 is much harder than the Spyderco VG10 in my experience anyway. And this is just plastic with no bushings or bearings at all, no bushings even. This is your ceramic ball bearings, G10 liners. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck. 69 bucks of this versus 75 for a Delica. Even though the steel is technically the same, I think their steel's better and you're getting a lot more features. So I'm just correcting you guys for going in the comments. For you don't like the Delica, I'm just correcting you before you get there, because I know there's a lot of big Delica fans that aren't big fans of mine. Let's go on next to the blade, because that is kind of the coolest thing about this knife. So as I said, thin blade stock, 0.11 inches, 16 thousandths behind the edge. It's very slicey, very high flat grind here because it's a very high blade. Even though you do have a lot of flat here, just the nature of the shape of this blade, how high it is, means you've got a whole lot of flat there. Slices like a champ. Not the best piercer in the world, obviously. Cleavers are not, but it's not horrible. And there's no flat whatsoever, so that's a thing if you don't like that. But, you know, I did some little chopping up with it. It's chopping some stuff, and it's, as long as you're past this flipper tab and you're doing it on a small area, it's got that little bit of rock in there. Can't demonstrate it well because the flipper tab's in the way at this moment. But if you're having stuff on the edge of something, cuts really well. And it's a cleaver. Even though it's a small knife, it still just kind of does inspire you just to go, ah! I don't know why, but it does that. It'll do that well. It's a really, really cool cool blade shape, I think. If you're into cleavers, and if you're not, man, you're curious about cleavers, this is a good gateway drug. 69 bucks. And it's a very well-constructed blade, well-constructed knife. And it's just a whole lot of fun. I'll continue to explain why it's fun as we go on. Next category, I usually go into ergonomics. For a knife this size, man, it's pretty darn good. I can't get full 4 fingers on it, obviously. I can get 3 and a bit, but I don't usually try to. I usually just hold it with 3 and you know, use the other one to kind of hold it in place. It is small enough that it's easy to choke up on it. That's nice. Part of me wishes it had a forward finger choil, but also I think with a cleaver you just lose so much blade shape that probably doesn't make any sense. But I always wish for a forward finger choil. But in this particular case, I can completely see why it doesn't have one, and I'm not going to give it too much crap. Ergonomically, for a knife this size, it's one of the best I've held, other than the CRKT Pilar, which is cheaper and has it's kind of a cleavery sort of blade on it too. This is more of a sheep's footy than a cleaver. They call this a cleaver sheep's foot hybrid, and I guess that's technically correct, where they just call this a sheep's foot. But this is more cleavery than this. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, The ergonomics on this are a little bit better because you can choke up. And there will be a comparison between this and this, but not this one, because this one is so dramatically cheaper. I'm going to get one of the Blade HQ exclusives with better steel and carbon fiber, and then we'll do a little comparison between the two when the price point's a bit more the same. Because right now I can just tell you, this would get blown out of the water by this because of the steel and some of the other materials. But yeah, ergonomically, it's really good for a knife this size. It really is. No hot spots. It's grippy enough. It's perfect. Carry wise, also really good. No deep carry pocket clip, but there's not a whole lot sticking out of your pocket. And this thing does look really wide, and it is tall, definitely. You're looking at, yeah, a little skosh over 1.5 inches. I got it down too low, sorry. A little skosh over 1.5 inches, but it's really small in your pocket. This flipper tab gives no problems whatsoever, no jimping at all, and fits in the watch pocket of your jeans really, really well. That fifth pocket, it fits perfectly in there, so it makes a great backup knife. Or if you just want to make sure the knife is up even higher so your shirt covers it up, which I do that sometimes. If I really don't want anybody to know I have a knife on me and I want to use that pocket for that, excellent knife for that. One of my favorite fifth pocket jean knives ever. It's just, it fits in there so well, and it's such a cool knife. Now, what makes this thing so fun and ramps up the fun factor, even though it's got the crazy blade shape is fun. It's not crazy, but the unique-ish blade shape is fun. The colors are fun. But the thing why I'm going to say this is one of the most fun knives I reviewed this year in 2018. That. 69 bucks. That's how smooth this thing is. The detent is really good. It's not perfect. I wouldn't mind if it was just a bit stronger, but the bearings are so smooth that it doesn't matter. It's a stiff enough detent you can't shake it out. So it's a completely safe detent. I just wish it was 5-10% stronger, but man, that thing it rockets out still, even with the detent not being super strong. And when you go to close it, it's such a great little fidgety thing. It's so much fun. And it's so small that if you're carrying a big knife, like let's say, what's something I have here I could put in that category? Okay, I'll grab this. This is a Spyderco Gale Bradley 2. Big, great working knife. Hit the camera tripod there. Big, great working knife, but not a whole lot of fun. It's just not a lot of fun. It's fun enough, but I mean, you gotta shake it close. There's no. It's running on washers. It's a great big working knife, but it's not a lot of fun. If you're thinking, I gotta really do some stuff, I'm gonna carry this, but man, I just wish I had a knife that was fun to play with to also carry. This thing's tiny and it's a freaking blast. So it's a fun, almost, I'm not gonna call it an accessory because it's a really good knife. You can actually really do some stuff. I've cut a lot of stuff with this in the last couple of days, and it's performed outstandingly. I just hacked up I bought a bunch of very large car tools, jack and some wheel stands and stuff from Harbor Freight, and I had to cut up the boxes to put them away, and it's right through them. It's a great slicer, very useful knife, and just so much fun to fiddle with. Much like the Kaiser Dukes. I don't have it here where I can grab it really quick, but the Kaiser Dukes, same thing. It's more of a gentlemanly knife, but it's just, they do such a good job with the action on these Vanguards. And this is honestly probably the smoothest Vanguard I've ever used, and it's the smallest. So that is just amazing. Now, I will say, qualifying about this action, I did take this apart and oil it up, but because I was just curious what it looked like inside. But the things that I did to it only made it 10% smoother than it was out of the box. If I'd have just used it for a few days, it would have gotten just as smooth as this. So if when you open your mini sheepdog and it doesn't drop this fast, give it a couple days, it will. Or open it up, put some nano oil in it like I did, and it will. But just, I freaking love this thing. I just do. It's fantastic, and it's a knife that I did not think I would like, and I certainly did not think I would be ordering in bright freaking blue, but I did, and I'm very happy about both decisions. I have no intentions on getting rid of this and getting the black one like I do. Sometimes I go crazy and get stuff in a color, and I'm like, I love it, but I get rid of it and get the plain one. No, I'm keeping it in the blue. I like the blue. fits the personality of this knife very well. But if you want to get the black or the green, that's your decision, and I won't mock you for it. I'll never mock anybody who has one of these in their pocket, because they are a very cool knife. Hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I honestly hope you guys go out and buy one. I can guarantee this is going to be on my best knives of 2018 list at the end of the year. I would bet the life of one of my children on it that it'll be on it. I love this thing, and I can't see that going away anytime soon, unless it like explodes and burns a hole in my pants or something. But and it won't do that. It's a Kaiser. Fantastic knife, great blade. Opened up a lot of doors for me. I'm sure I will get the larger version of it. And I like this so much. When they do come out with the Bladesmith series, the fancier version of this with the frame lock and the better steel, I'll probably get one of those too. It's just such a cool knife. I love the design of it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Good job, Kaiser and Chris Conway. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.